What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome back to another Football Manager 2018 video, and today I'm going to be giving you a preview of my Creators Cup drafted team. Now, if you don't know what the Creators Cup was, it was a tournament, and well, it is a tournament hosted by Sports Interactive. A few weeks ago now, I went over to Sports Interactive's offices along with 7 other YouTubers. We drafted teams. Football Manager did a video on their YouTube channel, which I recommend you check out. It was a really cool day, obviously great to network out. As part of this competition, we all drafted teams in draft mode against one another. My team's in front of you here, and in the next few days there's going to be my quarter-final match, which is against Chesnoid Gaming. So I thought prior to that video I'd give you a rundown of my team, just so you kind of know exactly what I've got, and also just to talk about why I picked the players I picked. I thought it'd be a good video to do. So anyway, I guess we'll start from the back and go forward, and I will say now, I'm not that happy with my draft. I felt like after the draft I was fairly confident, and then I saw other people's teams and realised actually maybe I hadn't done as well as I'd thought, and my general thinking was to spend big on the strike force and kind of just build an okay team in behind. But I think I got the balance a little bit wrong. I mean, I'm saying this now. This video won't go up until after I've played the quarter-final against Ches, which is coming up for me. But I am a little bit worried. But anyway, let's talk about the defence. In goal, we went with Armani as a backup option. You can see this guy, the Argentine, a pretty cheap player, a good, well-rounded goalkeeper. He was really, really budget. You know, realistically, you're not going to need a great second-choice goalkeeper, so I went with him. And then my first-choice goalkeeper, I went with Miguel Angel Moya, and he looks like a pretty good, you know, goalkeeper. Very well-rounded in a lot of areas. He was quite a cheap option as well. These transfer values aren't quite representative of the draft values, although they are pretty close. So let's just say it was £13 million we spent on him of a £500 million budget that we had. So he's going to be first-choice goalkeeper in my team. Obviously, a bit of experience, good mentals, very good distribution, shot stopping, and aerial ability. But I wouldn't say he is kind of, you know, by any means kind of a standout goalkeeper in the world of football. Anyway, onto the defence. The squads that we drafted were teams of 18 players. So realistically, I went with the approach of I'll get a back four, I'll get a backup player who can play both full-back positions, and a spare centre-back. So that's what we ended up doing. So my first choice right-back is going to be Mario Fernandez. You can see here the Russian, a very good player, very good wing-back. Again, I didn't want to spend massive money on someone like Dani Alves, so I feel like Mario Fernandez was a good budget option at right-back. You can see as a wing-back, he's a pretty good player, all in all. At left-back, I am thinking we're going to go with Jorge here, who is a player who served me well a few years ago now in a Liverpool save. I still owe him for that. Very good going forward, a little bit limited defensively, which is a little bit of a concern, especially given the fact that when I was looking across everyone else's teams, as you can imagine, that everyone's teams are a little top-heavy, and I feel like in skimping out on my defence, I might have created a problem for myself. But anyway, we've got him there. Our other option that we've got here is Hajsaj, who can play both full-back positions, the Albanian, which was kind of what I was looking for. As I said, we've got a left-back, a right-back, and a player who can play both sides. He's a little bit more defensive-orientated, so if we want to shut down a game, if we need to get a more defensive player on the pitch, he is our option there. Obviously, great that he can play both full-back positions. In terms of centre-backs, my starting centre-backs are going to be Mustafi and Gil. You can see here, Mustafi, very good, 25 years old, obviously the Arsenal centre-back. Not a bad centre-back by any means. Not massively quick and not fantastic in the air. He's kind of just a well-rounded defender. I'm hoping that he's going to be able to do the business. Anyway, alongside him, as I mentioned, we have got Gil. This is a Brazilian who plays in China, if I'm not mistaken. He's a little slower than Mustafi, but he's very, very good in the air, very dominating. You can see great bravery, positioning, marking. They're all pretty good as a defensive player, and he was a good budget option. I think between Gil and Mustafi, I got them for about £27 million. Anyway, our backup centre-back is going to be Walter Kahneman, who is an okay centre-back. Realistically, you're only ever going to use your backup centre-back if there's a sending off. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't plan to play free at the back against Ches. I've not played free at the back this year in Football Manager. Of course, the new Football Manager has only just come out, so I feel like everyone's going in a little bit kind of not sure what the best kind of tactics are, especially in network games, because network games, if you've ever played them, you'll know they're a whole different beast. It is a big venture into the unknown, really. Anyway, looking at our centre mids, And in fact, let's just go with midfielders. Here we go. Looking at our midfielder options, we went with Pizarro as a deep line playmaker. Very good player, obviously. Plays in Liga BBVA. You can see here, nice physicals, not super fast, but kind of well balanced, good stamina, good defensively as well, which I think is going to be important. In terms of the tactical, we'll talk about it a little bit more. My plan is at least initially to go with the Liverpool kind of 4-3-3 system. So in terms of having that deep line playmaker who is rough in the tackle, Pizarro was a pretty good fit. He's 27, he's well-rounded, and I'm hoping he is going to do the business for us. Anyway, we did a few backup picks. The first one here, Abel Aguirre. He's an okay player. He's got 14 leadership. He's a bit of a leader, which is something that I kind of wanted. He's 32 years old. He was one of these budget picks, but he's a pretty well-rounded kind of centre mid. Can play the deep line playmaker role well, certainly. Pretty good in the air, which could be useful on set pieces if we need to bring him on off the bench. His pace is a little bit lacking, though, the 32-year-old. Fran Sergio was the other kind of centre mid that we got as backup. You can see with this guy, he's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. 26 years old, can play that deeper midfielder role. Probably going to be more likely to play him as a centre mid. And, well, he's a pretty kind of well-rounded player. Perhaps not incredible going forward. That 10 finishing, a little bit of a concern. But you can see here, there's 12s, there's 13s, there's 14s, just across the board everywhere. A very well-rounded player and kind of an ideal kind of backup centre mid. Anyway, our two main starting mids. The first one is Savic here. Obviously, fantastic in the air, very good physically, good going forward. Defensively, maybe a little lacking. His marking could be a little better, but I haven't got too many complaints with him. Not massively mobile. 13 acceleration and 13 pace isn't incredible, especially in draft mode. Obviously, normally that really wouldn't be that bad, but you've got to consider that everyone else has spent £500 million on players. So you're not playing with any bad players. The way to look at this is essentially it's like a super league. You know, if you play in Football Manager, if you're managing someone like, say, Liverpool, as I was in my main FM save this year, to start off the beta, you go up against the little teams and you think you can play on the attack and maybe rotate it around a little. Because everyone spent £500 million, people's teams really shouldn't have weaknesses if they've picked well. Obviously, I'm going through a list of weaknesses here, but I feel like, generally speaking, everyone's teams are going to be very, very strong. And so it's going to be these little problems that I'm hoping aren't going to get picked apart. Anyway, alongside Savic, we have got Dele Alli, obviously. Fantastic player. One of the best centre mids in FM this year. Good finishing. That is going to be important because I do intend to play him on the centre mid on attack role. He was a pretty big chunk of our budget, although significantly more of it went on our attacking players. But yeah, all in all, the 21-year-old, just a very good centre mid in the attacking domain. I did want to get Nangolan. Unfortunately, he got snapped up. I was a little unfortunate. Obviously, the draft video, if you watched it, doesn't tell you that much about what happened. But the way the pick system worked is, if you can imagine everyone's a letter, it went A, B, C, D, E, F, G, G, and then back down to A, then A picks twice, then G picks twice. I came out the hat 5th, which was a bit of a problem because I feel like if you get the top 2 picks, you immediately go for Messi or Ronaldo, obviously, the 2 best players in FM by a pretty big margin. But going 5th, both those players immediately went, as you can perhaps imagine. I feel like in 5th, I was in a bit of a pickle because whilst I got the 5th pick overall, everyone after me was obviously getting 2 picks before I then got my next pick. So I kind of feel a little hard done by that. But that's the nature of draft mode. You can't really fault it, can you? I mean, I just feel like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you would love 5th pick. Let me know if you would in the comments. But for me, it was the one place where I didn't want to be. Because I feel like at least if you're 8th out of 8 people, you get back-to-back picks. So you can kind of pick 2 players who work with one another, kind of cover off 2 key bases of your team. Anyway, in terms of the attacking midfielders, you can see here, I got in Jose Callejon as a really good option. He actually was the last player I drafted. It got to my kind of first few picks. So in my first 4 picks, I picked Griezmann, Eden Hazard, Luis Suarez and Dele Alli. And that was over £300 million of 500 million gone. And I did have a notepad, so I kind of knew that that was roughly the amount of money I wanted to spend across the 4 kind of key attacking players for me. And then I had all these budget picks listed out, you know, the likes of Walter Kahneman, players you would never have heard of. and well, I obviously picked Walter Cannyman, and I ended up being getting towards the end and realising that I still had £60 million for my last few picks. So Jose Calderon here was a player I picked in. He's a good attacking option. I felt like I needed a plan B on off the bench. He's got pretty good acceleration. His pace isn't too shabby. Very good attacking player. Can play on the right, on the left, and as a striker, which was kind of important considering the fact that I might need him to fill any of those roles depending on if Hazard, Griezmann or Suarez just has a bad day. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway, I mentioned Hazard. You can see what he looks like. You know what he's like in FM. My plan with Hazard and Griezmann is to play them as inside forwards alongside each other. I think they're two players who are going to be really complementary in that regard either side. Suarez is going to play up front as the complete forward. He was the first player I picked. I think it's kind of obvious why you should pick him as a complete forward. I'm hoping he's going to do the business for us. Obviously, it's a massive risk to spend such a large portion of my budget on my front three. If they have bad games, it could be a problem. It's worth noting that the reason, if you're wondering why I'm playing in FM Touch here, is because the games themselves for the content kind of cup, the Creators Cup, are going to be played in touch, which means there's no team talks. So you need plan Bs on the bench because you're not going to be able to do team talks or little player talks to try and swing a game in your favour. And obviously with it being touch, you can only preload one tactic at a time, which does make things a little bit finicky in terms of going to a plan B. But anyway, we have Suarez here. The last player that I've not talked about yet, Dorlan Pobon, the Colombian. He's an okay player, just a good backup striker. Realistically, hoping we don't have to bring him on, but if we do, he's not, going to be a complete fish out of water. Again, you can play a few different positions, right mid, striker, centre attacking mid if we want to change systems. In terms of the team itself, I will quickly now try and get it all picked out exactly how I imagine it's going to play. But it's going to be something like this. We're going to go with Moya in goal, Fernandez, Mustafi, Gil and Jorge. Pizarro playing that deep line playmaker role, Ali and Savic at centre mid, Hazard, Griezmann and Suarez up front. So that's my team for the Creators Cup. As I said, I'm kind of happy with it. I feel like I have, now that I know that I've got Calderon on the bench, I feel like I probably could have sacrificed a pick like Griezmann or Hazard to really get just a better defence. I think that could be my undoing, to be honest. Jorge's not great defensively. I feel like it's really easy to see this all in hindsight. I feel like when you're picking your players live and there's 8 people and you're doing it over the course of a few hours, whilst there's lots of filming going on, you kind of just lose track of your picks. But I'm not too dissatisfied with my team. Obviously, really looking forward to you guys seeing the whole thing with the Creators Cup. It was really fun to be part of. Obviously, massive thank you to SI for inviting me to be part of it. I do hope that you guys go over and check out the Football Manager YouTube channel. Obviously, keep an eye out in the next few days for the first leg. I believe the quarterfinal will be uploaded to my channel, and then the second leg will be against Ches on his channel. I encourage you to check out all the videos. They're all the content creators. It was fantastic to meet them all really nice guys. I'll put their links all in the description, so if you want to check out more of this, I think a few of them may have done preview videos similar to this. And well, hopefully we can go fairly far. I feel like Online Football Manager, it always has a bit of randomness, but I want to win. And if you don't know, there's £5,000 on the line. I need a green screen to up the video production value. That's the dream. And yeah, hopefully, as I said, you check out all the creator stuff that's going to be going on with regards to this over the next weeks. Anyway, guys, that is all from me. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you make of my team. As I said, I was really happy with it at the time. Now that I've got home, the buzz of the draft is gone. I am a little worried, but we'll see how we get on. It's all in good fun, and well, hopefully you enjoy it, as I already said. Anyway, that's all from me. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.